From the PEP Radio Newsroom, this is the News Blast for this hour. The headquarters of the U.S. Small Business Administration, or SBA, in Washington, D.C., recently flew the Appeal to Heaven flag, a flag associated with the new Apostolic Reformation, a movement that urges Christians to overtake the U.S. government. The NAR movement largely supports the Trump administration. In a June 11th post on her X account, SBA Administrator Kelly Loeffler posted an image of the flag, writing, "Today at SBA's Flag Day ceremony, we proudly raised a new American-made flag over our headquarters in Washington. It is a privilege to serve under its stars and stripes on behalf of the 34 million small businesses who represent the best of America." One of the post's images showed the Appeal to Heaven flag flying under a U.S. flag. Flag Day is meant to honor the U.S. flag, and Republicans across the U.S. have been banning any flag from flying at government buildings other than the U.S. flag in an effort to stop the pride flag from being flown. George Washington University extremism researcher John Lewis told Wired magazine the contemporary usage of the Appeal to Heaven flag is synonymous with Christian nationalism, full stop. That the Appeal to Heaven flag is being flown on a government building alongside the American flag should be shocking to anyone who doesn't wish to live in a theocracy. The flag was first commissioned in 1775 by then Commander-in-Chief George Washington. It flew on 2 U.S. sailing barges and a squadron of 6 schooners during the start of the American Revolutionary War against the British monarchy. At that time, the flag's pine tree icon had become a New England symbol of American colonial resistance against British royal powers. The flag's phrase, "an appeal to heaven," came from political philosopher John Locke's 1698 work, Second Treatise on Government. Locke said that people who could find no appeal on earth against oppressive rulers can instead make, quote, "an appeal to heaven," end quote, by using their God-given right to revolt. In 2015, the flag gained popularity through the Appeal to Heaven national tour of NAR movement pastor Dutch Sheets. During his tour, Sheets repeatedly linked the flag to the American Revolution and concepts of Christian nationalism, CNN reported. During a tour stop in Ohio, Sheets spoke against the Supreme Court's then recent decision legalizing same-sex marriage and the court's ongoing abortion cases, saying it's not settled law until God says it's settled law. If we appeal to heaven, he can turn this thing around. Notably, the Appeal to Heaven flag was infamously seen at the January 6, 2021 U.S. Capitol riots, which was led by supporters of President Donald Trump, and outside the home of anti-abortion and anti-LGBTQ plus Supreme Court Justice and total douchebag Samuel Alito in 2024. This flag is part of a broader effort by the far right to recall the principles of the American Revolution and import them into the anti-democratic efforts here in the United States, said Jamar Tisby, a Simmons College professor who studies Christian nationalism, according to CNN. He said right-wing groups who fly the flag see themselves as involved in a righteous rebellion against an unjust, intrusive government. The Appeal to Heaven flag is also a symbol of white Christian nationalism because it links their cause to God's will as an appeal to heaven or a higher power. He added, that way the movement appears to transcend political earthly authority and become a divine right. Loeffler, who is a Christian, may or may not agree with the NAR's movement's political agenda. While briefly serving as Georgia's U.S. Senator, she donated part of her salary to anti-abortion pregnancy centers and an anti-LGBTQ plus adoption agency, according to BuzzFeed. It's worth noting that Loeffler also recently appeared on a live stream video broadcast of The Benny Show, hosted by right-wing commentator Benny Johnson. In a recent episode, Johnson suggested that Vance Bolter's recent assassination of pro-LGBTQ plus Minnesota Democrat Melissa Hortman was actually a false flag op organized by the U.S. government. Johnson and the president's son, Donald Trump Jr., then repeated the right-wing lie that Bolter was a left-winger. He's not. He voted for Donald Trump. He has supported right-wing causes. He's practically a Nazi. And the regime marches on with their desire to turn the so-called United States into a Reich-wing Christian theocracy. That's the News Blast for this hour. Download the Live 365 app to take PEP Radio with you wherever you go. Up next, the Meadville area weather forecast here on PEP Radio.